you'd think they'd fix the hot dog to bun ratio by now, but you never know. Anyway,
Mhm.
what's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Who What Now podcast, the podcast for consumers by consumers, where we ask the questions: Who are you? What got you into gaming? And what type of gamer are you now? I am your humble host, Josh Stewart, and today we have a reoccurring champ. From YouTube,
Hey.
Nerdy Noah reads, and from the first episode and the third episode. Welcome back, Noah. How are you?
Hey, it's fantastic to be back, especially to talk about one of my most favorite things in the world of gaming.
That is correct. Today's episode, we are doing a little deep dive into the Mass Effect. You call it trilogy, maybe like the whole series. They threw Andromeda in there, but we'll get into that and our thoughts and feelings and stuff. But this game came out. Mass Effect itself came out 15 plus years ago or so.
Something like that. Yep.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute. I do remember playing this like well after it was already out, and I was like in high school.
Yep.
So it's been a while, but nonetheless, this game has held up by fans all over for years and years and many years to come. Probably. I mean,
and I think with their remaster Legendary Edition that they released, that kind of updated the gameplay mechanics just a bit, especially on the first game. It made it so much more of an accessible game for today, and it's just been so good to get back to it in that context of the update. Amazing.
Yeah, 100%. I completely agree. Actually, in preparation of doing today's episode, I kind of got the hype back. I'm super pumped to dive back in to the point where I was like, you know what, I think it's time. And I bought the Legendary pack. It comes with the first three Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3, and all 40 DLCs that it came with. All three games. So, I mean, I am set, and I'm super pumped to really see if the game holds up, in 2024. I mean, it's been, like I said, like 15 plus years. So, I mean,
it does.
It's going to be a wild ride. Now, I gotta say, for Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3 and Andromeda, I am a big fan, but I'm pretty sure, from conversations in the past and previous episodes and just one-on-one conversations, Mass Effect, the series, has
I kind of don't shut up about it.
Yeah, we had to make an episode. I was like, can you just knock it off a little bit? You
gotta give me an hour, and then maybe I can be quiet.
I was like, let's schedule some time, get it out of your system, so I never have to hear about this again. No, I'm super excited to really dive into your thoughts and feelings for this, because I mean, when it really boils down to it, this is what this podcast is about. I want to know why these games mean so much in our lives, and what an amazing game series and story to really look over with someone such as yourself. So I think without stalling any further, maybe let's just jump into it. So
Hell
I think
yeah,
first things first, why is Mass Effect your absolute top tier favorite game?
All right, let me try to answer this without taking the whole hour just answering this one question.
We have
we do have a list. Okay? We do have a list. We're on a time crunch a little bit here. We've got lives. Here we go. So the basic truth is that I did not play video games as a kid. It was very intermittent. When I was very young, I played some NES, and then after that, it was basically nothing, based on my upbringing. And so as an adult, young adult in college, I started to dabble a little bit and My biggest struggle is that everyone I knew was playing a lot of these, player versus player, Call of Duties, things like that. And I wasn't good at gaming. I hadn't played. So the ability for me to enjoy that, not there. I would go in, I would try to play, killed. I couldn't compete. And I didn't have the background to understand or enjoy the idea of the grind to get good enough to compete in a player versus player situation. To this day, player versus player is not my thing. So I remember actually just Googling what are good single player games that have good, and I just remember saying have good stories. And I made that Google search, and again, the games had been out for a while at this point. Mass Effect 3, I think, was only a couple years old, maybe 3 years old. And that was all I started to see over and over. Everybody's list. They would have a list of stuff, but everyone I would look up, it was either 1 or 2 or 3 on their list. The Mass Effect trilogy, Mass Effect trilogy, Mass Effect trilogy. You got to play Mass Effect. And I'm a big Star Wars fan, but otherwise, the space age kind of idea wasn't exactly, I wasn't sure, because I like Star Wars and I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to adapt to another type of thing that almost on its face sounded like it was almost copying it in some ways. Not at all, but when you're reading like a synopsis, you almost get this idea. And but I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try it. So I had this old Xbox 360. I went to GameStop. I bought the three game pack that they were selling used for Xbox 360, and I dropped it in, and it sucked hardcore the first game for me because I chose the weakest possible class you can choose because I thought then I could hide in the background, which again, I didn't understand video games. You are the main character, whether you like it or not, in a video game for the most part, unless you're playing with other people. Really made it difficult for me. Struggled through that game, but the story and the companions got me through, pushed me through, and I couldn't put it down, even though, oh man, it was rough sometimes. And then once I got to the second game, I was obsessed. And that's it. The emotional weight that this story tells, the fact that you play the same character over 3 consecutive games, that's just unheard of in the gaming industry, really, before or since, with these 3 consecutive time connected games. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but it's not common. And to be done like it did, you can bring your saves over. I was totally enthralled. Absolutely loved it. And that was that. Nothing has ever compared for me since.
Yeah, there was a couple points in there that I wanted to touch on because I think they would be amazing to talk about. But one of those being the one that you said that, being that it was like a series where the main character like kind of transfers over from game to game to game, and you're playing the same character and stuff. And the first thing that I thought of was like Assassin's Creed, Ezio Auditore, and and an absolutely fantastic, character development and story and stuff. But I think the key was what you said there was that all of the decisions that you make from Mass Effect 1 shape the way that the world is in Mass Effect 2, and the companions that transfer over from game 1 to 2 and from 2 to 3. Because those who don't know, Mass Effect has a system where there are pretty difficult and like moral, like wrenching choices that you have to make, and the results of those choices will shape the way that the next game is played. Which is fun in the sense that it provides the opportunity for more of a personalized play, which I think is what is so desired in this style of game. you also said that back when you first, like, you Googled, like, what were the, best, like, first player games and stuff, and this
Mm-hmm.
kept coming up. What year did you, like, actually, like, sit down and play, like, the Mass Effect series? Like, how long has it been since you have, like, since you started and since you've, like, played through it a couple of times?
Uh, I would have been 10 years ago that I first
Oh, wow.
started playing
Yep.
the game.
All right.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah,
It
that's
was. I
awesome.
was. Yeah. It was. Yeah. Like. Yeah. Right in the midst of college. Mm-hmm.
That's that's pretty good. I
Yeah.
think mine was like 15 years, but I also um I did the same thing
Yeah.
where I was like, I think I was even like walking through like a GameStop or something, and I knew I wanted like something new to play,
Yeah.
but I didn't know what was out there, and not knowing or having like the reference of certain games, you kind
Mm-hmm.
of have this like at least I had this like strategy where I would just kind of like base a game off of like the cover and was like, okay,
Yeah.
well, this cover is pretty sick. I'm gonna, get into this. And then after doing that a couple of times and having some good ones, having some ones that didn't quite hit the mark for me,
Mm-hmm.
I ended up like talking to the salespeople who this is their job, this is what they do anyway,
Yeah.
and he recommended Mass Effect, and so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna sit down, I'm gonna play the first one, and I got right to the end of it, and I was like, I gotta go right
Yeah.
into the second
Yeah.
one. And I
Yeah.
remember just heading right back to the store, like however long it took me to beat it, right back to the store,
Yeah.
buy the second
I
one,
bought that
get back
three
out
pack.
there,
I
like,
was lucky. I could just pop the next one in. It was a
yeah,
blessing and a curse.
I went disc for disc. It was
Damn.
good times.
Yeah. Yeah. The original game released in 2007. So even by the time I played it in like, what are we talking, like 2013? Like
Oof.
it was already old. It was already dated. It was already clunky, especially the first game. It was exactly what I thought. The year that I played it, Mass Effect 3 had only been out for a year. So that game was pretty modern, pretty on point at the time that I played it. But the first game, damn, even back then, you could feel it. Again, do not play these games unless you're playing the Legendary Edition. You must play the Legendary Editions. They are the most complete versions of the game, and they have done some tweaks, quality of life improvements to make especially the first game much more cohesive with the rest. It feels more like you're playing the same game throughout rather than a lot of variance. Couldn't completely fix everything, but it's so much better.
See, that's really good to know, because I just, like I said, earlier, I just bought the legendary, like 3 pack,
Yeah.
and so it comes with everything, and so this is now my reviewing of this game
Mm-hmm.
uh almost 15 years later. So
That's
I'm
right.
I'm pretty pumped to to really dive into, like, game is, it's been out long enough where they've had the time to tweak it, and
Yeah.
it's already, like, been vamped up for HD and stuff, and so
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty excited to start it. So a lot of what we're going to talk about today is based off of 15-year-old knowledge, and an angsty teenager trying to understand it. So
Mm.
there's probably going to be a lot of times that you're going to need to correct me. So
No
I
problem.
think I
Will
think
do.
there's yeah. I think there's no better jumping off point than right here, right now. So let's start off before we get into, like, the overall story and
Yeah.
enjoyment of it. Um, I remember playing the first and second game, and then when I got to, I want to say it was the third or it was Andromeda.
Yeah.
But there became a moment when you could have the female design version of Shepard versus
Yeah.
the male voice design Shepard.
Mm-hmm.
And I only played the male voice design Shepherd because like it wasn't an option for me in the first and second one, so it didn't make sense to me to not. I will say before we hit record, I just started the first game
Mm-hmm.
again, and I'm going the female voice actor Shepard for
Yeah.
this entire playthrough because I've heard that the voice acting almost presents an entirely different experience.
Oh yeah.
Um, so what was your experience with that? How did how did that all play
Mm-hmm.
out for you?
Well, I will tell you straight up is that I have not. I have watched some playthroughs of different things. I have I have listened to reviews, but I have not myself played a playthrough of Mass Effect as FemShep, which that is the term in the fan community for it.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, FemShep. That she is, and I would say overall, it is widely agreed that the female voice acting performance is superior to the male performance. Now, I was a 21-year-old kid who heard there was some sex scenes and stuff in these games, and I was going to play a dude because I am a dude and I wanted to play a dude who could pick the chick that he liked. So that was
Hey,
pretty much the only decision for me
yeah, there's nothing wrong with
when I
that.
played it. And then when I and I played a couple times just kind of sticking with that. And then when I got the legendary edition and started playing, I wanted to kind of do a homage to that original playthrough. So I did again choose male shepherd. I really enjoy male shepherd's voice acting. I can understand that based on today's standards of voice acting, it probably is not the best. It's a little monotone. It's a little one note, but I have
Okay.
great nostalgia for it, and it really works for me. So I am a diehard male shep love of a player, but I totally get and understand that female shep is probably the better performance, and that is my intention on my next playthrough as well, is to play female and to get that experience.
Hell yeah, dude. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's awesome.
but yeah, love male shep, love the companion options and the romance options you get when you're with your male shep too, that are locked in only with male shep. So that's part of it too for me. Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
I like the
I didn't
spicy.
know that.
Oh yeah, we'll get there. We'll talk about it. This
Okay. Yeah.
Mass Effect is a game that for me the companions are the game. Like the
Yeah.
story is amazing, what you do is amazing. It's the companions. It is that a whole thing what makes Mass Effect magical and what sets it apart. So yeah, so we'll get there.
Fantastic. Well let's dive deep here. The overall story of
Mm-hmm.
Mass Effect. Let's break this one down instead of the overall story from 1, 2 and 3. Let's
Yeah,
start here at Mass Effect 1.
yeah.
So I wrote a couple things down from what I could like basically remember
Mm-hmm.
from it.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I do remember like the basic premise of the very first game was that basically you were on a quest to stop a specter from basically creating a sentient like machine army
Yeah,
named the Geth. And their whole goal was basically just to take over the galaxy. It was a very like stereotypical space quest
yep,
adventure type of thing. The one thing I do give it full credit for is that it didn't feel like a
yeah,
stereotypical space quest type of odyssey. So
yeah.
um,
I, I think
that was
yeah, that is your. I think the if official layout was is that the Geth, that he actually didn't create them. He has commandeered them and taken control of them. They already existed. They were a artificially intelligent race created by the Quarians, which are a another alien race that you meet in the game. and they were basically, it was like a situation where you make this AI and they turn on you. There's a lot of nuance to that. This is a deep dive. That is like a plunging into the depths beyond all you can imagine deep dive to go into all of that situation. But yeah, I think that was the thing, is that this Saren guy was figuring out how to control the minds of these Geth in a way they hadn't been controlled before. And it opens up into this greater what is going on. And so initially you think you're just fighting this Saren guy, and it turns out, oh, actually, he's being controlled. And it's the power that's controlling him that gives him the power to control these machine monsters, people, if you will. Okay. And then that's where the whole situation kind of goes nuts.
So do you learn all that in the first game?
Yeah.
So I gotta be honest. It's been a while. So like,
oh yeah.
I there was a couple parts during this where I was like, okay, this is the episode, so I got to refresh my memory. And boy, there were so many spots where I was like, I don't remember that at all.
Well, here's the thing, dude. This is the thing. You're the position of a gamer who loved the game, enjoyed playing it, and then also plays other games. I'm in the position of, I played this game, it fucking changed my life. It has affected every other game that I play going forward. It affects how I play my D&D games, which we've talked about in past. Like, so yeah, there's like, you're the normal person here. So
well, I mean, hey, this is the difference between, this is why this Mass Effect is your absolute top tier game, and why this is, a really good game to me. And that's what makes, these types of games so special, because it hits people differently in so many different, like, positive ways. So I guess that would be, is there anything else we missed from the first game there?
In the end, you discover that there is this there's this race of alien creatures that seem very machine like themselves, called the Reapers, and they end up, the end of you figure out that what the Reapers do is, every so many hundreds and thousands of years, they come into this galaxy and they reset it, and they destroy everything. And and that's what they are trying to do, is do their reset. It is a time for a reset. And your character, Shepard, is not about to let that happen. So that's kind of in the about the end of the first game, is you find the Reaper that has been staying here to kind of mark the beginning of that, and you kill him before he's able to send the signal to bring all the other ones back to start this harvest. So you delay it, and then you start the game ends with you kind of being assigned to go and do whatever you can to keep them from coming.
Nice.
Yeah. Really, really good stuff.
Yeah, that brings like a lot back. It rings a lot of bells. That was
Mass Effect 1 is like the first game was definitely, they tried to do some role playing mechanics, some RPG mechanics that you'll notice this when you go back and play. The first game has a lot more like role play aspects. There's more shops, there's more armor choices, and like little things like that, where they move by the time you move to the second game, it definitely moves into more of just an action adventure game. It's still a role-playing game in the sense of that you are playing a role, you are doing, these things. Shout out to Mortissimo Gaming on YouTube. Watching his reviews and his overviews, I was doing a little bit of some extra prep, just getting some outside perspectives. So some of what I'm saying is similar to things that he's spoken about that I fully agree with.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, there was definitely a little bit more of that. And then I think they just realized that the story was the most important thing, and so they just kind of steered towards that, and I think it was way better for it. But yeah, the first game, you kind of are traveling around, you're gathering specialists to your ship in order to figure out what is going on with Saren, understand what's going on with him, and eventually take him out. And you get you get introduced to all these amazing different races, all these amazing different alien races, and their different motivations. And again, the characters, the companions, are what makes it. And it all starts in Mass Effect 1. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, in the first game, we actually get introduced to two of my favorite characters that I would do anything in the entire game series to keep around.
Yeah.
And that was oh man, I'm gonna get his name wrong. It was like Garrison or something, and
Garrus
Tally.
Vakarian.
Yeah, Garrett.
And
Yeah, it was
Tally.
Garrus and Tally.
Oh my god, dude! Yep.
When the original like meetup with Garrus, it was so fun. Like the mission that is like around, like kind of like I guess in a way like unlocking that character or that companion. Was just so fun and in depth that and the way that the interactions kind of happen with that character and the conversational like I guess structures and stuff. I just remember that character just feeling like such a badass to me.
Oh my god, yeah.
Like,
I want to be Garrus so bad.
Yeah. I was like this dude's like he reminds me of like a space like cowboy kind of thing, like an old western like space cowboy. He's so awesome.
Yeah, unbelievably amazing. Garrus is the bro. Like, I mean, absolutely wonderful. He just becomes, again, some of this is because I think Garrus and Tally are the two characters that are able to be your companions in all three games. And I think that plays a lot into how close you become with them, because they're available to be with you on almost every mission, every time for both games. Of course, there's some time where you don't have them, but for the most part, they're available. No other character is available all three games like that. And it's just absolutely insane. Not only is he's a fucking badass, he's a great combatant person to have with you. He, as far as being your friend, he gets it. He gets what you're going through. He understands the gray areas of war. He understands about how just because we have to do difficult things, it doesn't mean we're bad people. And he's all about helping Shepard, especially when you're playing male Shepard, about just like, bro, it's okay. It's all right, bro. We're going to be okay. And it's just like, it's so fucking good. Yep.
Yeah.
We're skipping ahead to characters, but I just can't help it.
So much of his dialogue was so like character driven to me.
Yeah.
Like there's very few amount of conversations I felt like I was able to have that were just like conversations. Like
exactly.
He seemed like in his own weird way to just be so wise, but also be able to be relaxed enough to be like, hey, things happen, we're gonna figure it out from here. But we'll definitely get into characters. I definitely sidetracked a little bit on that one. Mass Effect 2,
we love Garrus. Yes.
This is probably the start of our first controversy of this episode here. Your favorite of the games, not mine in the least.
It's your least favorite.
It is at the bottom of the barrel, probably right there with Andromeda, but
wow. I can't wait. Hell yeah.
Yeah. So from what I remember,
Mm-hmm.
Basically that you set out with your team to investigate, to take down a group called the Collectors,
Yep.
that are controlled by the Reapers from the first game.
Yep.
Um, I
Yeah.
mean, we can get into it now or we can get into it later, but it's the
Here's
story
here.
for me that didn't hit top tier.
Wow.
I
Yeah.
just felt like this was the weakest story plot of it. Was like, hey man, like we put so much in the first game, we put so much in the third game, and I'm like, the second one I get was like, you got to get from 1 to 3 somehow, but
Yeah.
it really felt
Wow.
more like it was it felt like when you're watching Lord of the Rings and
Yeah.
you get that long cutscene where you just watch like, the fellowship as they just kind of traverse the lands for a while, and then eventually like they split, and then you get another cutscene of watching. It's just like it felt like, 10 hours of just playing. I'll eventually catch up, or I'll eventually get to where I'm going, and I'll
Mm,
eventually figure out the thing and I'm like, not a whole lot's really happening from the beginning of the game and the end of the game. Now, I get the ending of the game is pretty great and
yeah.
has huge impacts, but how we got from A to Z was, in my opinion,
Mm.
lackluster. So,
Well, obviously hard disagree, but at the same time, I think I can kind of see where you're coming from. One big thing that happens in the very beginning of Mass Effect 2, which absolutely was crazy to me, is that you die. You're on a mission.
yeah.
And you get attacked by you find I believe you find a collector ship for the first time, and you get fucked up and you die. And 2 years go by, and basically a terrorist group called Cerberus, which you may they come up as a little bit of some enemies you can fight in the first game, but this terrorist group run by this person literally called the Elusive Man. They have advanced technology, and over 2 years they genetically rebuild you.
Yeah.
And then so suddenly 2 years later, everyone thinks you're dead. You're no longer in the army, and you're expected to work for this terrorist group. I think the one thing that the first game and the third game have in common is that you're working for the Alliance. You're working, you're full on good guy. Let's go. When you're in the second game, you are very unsure as Shepard, at least the way I play him, which has been mostly, there's that Paragon Renegade kind of good, bad choices. I usually go with the good choices. This is a terrorist group. Basically, they're very racist. They're all about just promoting human advancement. Now, what's happened is because of Shepard's actions in the first game, the Reapers have decided that the humans are like the apex species of this cycle, is what they call it. So they start purposefully targeting humans over all the other races, and so they start targeting human colonies with this hive mind collector situation that they've created. It's kind of like a go before, try to weaken them so that when we get here, we can it's easy peasy. And so basically what this guy Cerberus says is, here, I've rebuilt you, unbelievable expense. I've rebuilt your ship, unbelievable expense. Now, you want to take on the Reapers. Your Alliance Navy, they haven't done anything in the last 2 years that you've been dead. Work for me. You don't have to like me. I'm giving you full control. You do what you want to do, as long as you are taking care of these collectors and helping protect humans. And so basically you end up working for a terrorist organization, using their resources to accomplish your own goals. And you go around, it's it's just you and your ship. and your people. And you go around and you find people to help you out. You find people to give you information and resources. And in the end, you realize you have to do just a massively, it's literally called a suicide mission. And the steps you take with your companions and how loyal they are to you and how much they understand and agree with what you're doing, it all plays into how things go. And if you succeed at all, and then how many people survive. It is absolutely insane. It's one of the best situations of, did I do the right things? Did I make the right choices to have the most success and to save the most people? First time I played, people died at the end of that because I didn't understand the system. I didn't, I just was playing the game. People died. And that, the weight of that was just insane for me. And the companions in the second game for me were it was so much more intense because it was such a smaller scale. It was like it's just you guys, you're going against the Navy, you're doing your own thing, and you have to just try to do the right thing because it's the right thing to do, even though nobody else sees it that way. And everyone else says you're working for a terrorist, but you're doing the right thing, and that's what I love about it. I love that it kind of brings it in close and makes it about you and your characters. And I think that I think there is something to be said, but I can see what you're saying about how it just feels like we just go do this now, go do this now, go do this now, go do this now, and then beat the game. But for me, it's all those conversations you're having, all those connections you're having, these people that maybe on their face seem like, are they really good people? In the end, it's like, oh yeah, they're actually the best. And I just love it for that.
Yeah, allow me to clarify like a little bit here. This game is fantastic.
Yeah.
It is not episode 2. Mass Effect 2 is towards the bottom of my favorite of the games. But that being
it's
said,
still the Mass Effect trilogy. It's still amazing.
Mass Effect 2 is like a 6.8, kind of thing, which is still, pretty good. And saying like my, in my opinion, my favorite game, which was Mass Effect 3 of the 4 games, sitting there at like an 8.5. Like they weren't perfect and they weren't terrible, but if, ranking the games, I put 2 towards the bottom just because I feel like the amount of things that you could do and the amount of shaping of the story that you could do in 1 and 3 are just, it's vastly more than 2. 2 just felt like a direct line instead of you hear a lot about like in Dungeons and Dragons and stuff like that railroading effect. Like Mass Effect 2 felt railroaded pretty heavily, whereas you still had really, really great dialogue, conversations, and the characters are fantastic, and I 100% agree. It's the companions that really make the game. But the story being such a straight line just kind of took it from me because I didn't really feel like I had as much say in the matter.
Yeah, I think for me what it did was, and I could totally see where you're coming from, it stripped away some of the stuff that I wasn't as into. And I think that you're more into that more wider kind of balanced game where it has, I was perfectly happy to have a game that was so character focused, so about conversations and stuff. And I did think that the fact that final mission did have such a huge effect based on your decisions, that helped me feel like I did have some say.
Yeah.
But at the same time, but at the same time, I totally get what you're saying as well. I just think for me, it leaned so much into what I love the most about the game that I was so happy to just be in that so much that like I would spend hours just going from character to character, making sure I
Mm,
talked to them, making sure we had the
yeah.
conversations. Not one character in Mass Effect 2 did not have the full conversations and the full every little cutscene they could have. I did. I mean, I didn't matter if I liked them or not. I was doing it because it mattered to me.
Hell
And
yeah.
so, that was kind of, I think, I was just so enthralled by that. It was also the first game. I did not do any of the romance options in the first game. So by the time I got to the second game, I was ready for that shit. And that's where that all happened. And I feel like it's done so, especially for the age of the game, it's done in a way that feels somewhat realistic to the situation. And at least the direction I went. And I thought
Yeah.
it was tasteful and sweet. And, so that was also, I think that's why it has a place in my heart for that too.
I will say the dialogue options got me in a lot of tight situations throughout the first three games.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's and there's videos out there. Shout out to Viva La Dirt League and Video Game
Mm-hmm.
Logic and stuff.
Hell
And
yeah.
they always make fun of like games like these with those dialogue options. And I always think of Mass Effect because Mass Effect's one of those games where it'll give you a little bar of
Mm-hmm.
options to say, but
Mm-hmm.
what your option is does not necessarily mean that's what they're going to
Exactly.
say. And so
Yep.
like they'll be like, oh, the captain's talking to you and he'll be, saying like, this, that, and the other thing, and here's some information. And you'll be like, your option will be like, tell me more, or like, why is that? And you'll be like, okay. And so you'll hit like, tell me more. And Shepard will just be like, yeah, I don't agree with you, Captain, but I'd like, this, that, and the other thing. And you're like, well, hold on a minute. That's not what I
Yeah.
said. That's not what I was trying to say. I was like, you got to say what I want to say, like,
Yeah. Yeah. It
don't get
happened to
me in
me
trouble because
just
you didn't.
recently.
Yeah.
Yeah, just recently replaying in Mass Effect 3, or not replaying, finishing my legendary playthrough in 3. There's this line where someone is about to sacrifice themselves, and you can select "I'll miss you," and I was like, well, it's a little bit more than, maybe a little bit too lovey-dovey, but I don't want to say the other thing, which is like do your duty or something like that. So I
Right.
pick
Right.
it, and I'm like, he's about to tell this guy that he's going to miss him, and then he goes and he just says good luck, and I'm like, but that you said
You're
you
like,
like,
you're like,
okay. So
these do not
I was like,
mean the
okay.
same
I was like,
thing.
hey, that's fine. I'm okay with that because I wasn't exactly loving the full "I'll miss
Yeah.
you" situation, but I was like, but that also is a little bit less like just saying good luck. That almost feels like the other option. So
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, that's
No.
what we're going for. Whatever.
Yeah.
It happens all the time.
If you have not seen this video, or if our listeners have not seen this video, you got to look up Viva La Dirt League, and they have like a video about like romance options, and
Yeah.
it is one of the funniest things I've seen, because like it really hits home with this game, and
Oh,
just
I
being
can't
like
wait to watch it.
they make a joke at one point where like the player character is talking to an NPC, and the NPC, is basically like professing her love and all that stuff, and so you have like an option, or like the player character has an option to be like, I think about it's like something like, I think about you all the time, or something like that, and then he
Yeah.
clicks on it and he's like, I think about you all the time and all the stupid decisions you've ever made, and you're like, whoa, this is not what I said, that is not even close to you.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I'm like 100% that is like the dialogue
Yep.
options in this game. Like there's sometimes where you almost have to like save, just to be like, I don't know what I'm gonna say
Yeah,
if I
exactly.
click this option,
I know. And Mass Effect doesn't let you save in cutscenes. It sucks.
it's bad.
Oh
But
man. Totally.
weirdly
Totally. So
enough,
yeah,
though,
that's
putting
go
that all
ahead.
aside, fantastic game still,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So good. So good. It just, I feel like it was so far ahead of its time. I don't feel other BioWare games, I would say Dragon Age, especially Inquisition, and also the one before it, really all of them did really well with this too. Same game company, same studio doing very similar
Yeah.
things. Just a different world. Mass Effect, I felt like in general, the world, and also the fact that this is 3 games in that's the same character. That's not the case with the Dragon Age game, so there's a difference there. But those are also amazing games as well if you like this kind of companion based story situation. But yeah. So now your
So
favorite game.
yeah, so my favorite game, I was gonna say, let's blast through this one because I want to talk about like the details of our plays and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So my notes basically were, from what I remember, Mass Effect 3, defeat the Reapers, kind
Mm-hmm.
of this is the end game, the
Yep.
end of your story type of thing. But there was a tiny little issue that I had with this game, even though it is, the top of the games in this series.
Mm-hmm.
The what as a Cerberus or whatever, the
Yeah.
group that basically saves you at the end of 2 is now your enemy in 3.
Yeah.
And I kind of was
Yep.
like, well, why? Like that's a very bold decision as
Yeah.
just like a developer, or it was a decision that they made when they made the end of the game, but then they were like, hey, we kind of need another enemy or something. So I don't
Yeah.
know, I've never looked into it, but it's always been something that's been kind of like right
Oh yeah.
there.
Oh yeah. The
um
Cerberus goes from being this kind of morally gray, very kind of complex, intelligent kind of thing to just a bunch of soldiers that you shoot all the time.
yeah,
Basically in the third game. And I do think that is it's a little bit of it's a tough it's a tough sell for sure. You're
yeah.
like, wait, they're not,
So
they were never like this when I was working
right.
for them.
So not only are you now you're attempting to defeat the Reapers and Cerberus, but now you've gotten word that on Mars there is it was like a study or something being done basically on the discovery of a super weapon to be the end all weapon.
Mm-hmm.
And this one was my top game just because when a game is going out, like it's finishing its tail,
Yeah.
they always go big, they always go
Yeah.
hard. And this game, the amount of companions that you could have, the
Yeah.
variations of like abilities and side things you could do,
Yeah.
this one was top just in the end all story and like the in-depth conversations you could get in with your companions, and
Mm-hmm.
the even the game mechanics like even improved. I think they've
Oh
improved a
yeah,
bit on each of the
mechanically
game
speaking,
mechanics.
gameplay wise, Mass Effect 3 was the best. I would argue we're not talking a ton about Andromeda, like the combat mechanics in Andromeda, I do think they really excelled in.
Yeah,
They just failed in a lot of other ways. But
and
like Mass
everything
Effect 3,
else.
they definitely made iterative improvements on their gameplay every time, and you can still even feel that with the Legendary Edition. It's a little bit less between 2 and 3 now. With the Legendary Edition, they feel a lot more similar, but there is still, you can definitely tell they really figured their shit out by the time they got to 3, for sure.
Yeah,
But
it
yeah.
was it was nice that in 3 it felt more like your story instead of a story that you were in. Like, I mean,
Yeah,
and
the
that's and
scale
that
is
that
just
is
big, and you're back on
yeah,
top. You're back with the Alliance. You're back, just you're
right.
gathering. You're the only person who has relationships with all these different people and races and things that could bring them together, get them to understand, help them with their problems, so that they'll come
Yeah.
help you. And you're the only person. And the other 2 games have your decisions and what you've done, you've made those connections, you've built that reputation, so now you cash in, and
Yeah.
it feels really really good
Yeah,
to
this is
just go
your
around and be like, yep, it's me, You know me, you know what I've done,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm about. Now let's get this shit done. And it
Yeah,
feels
this
really
is
fun.
your Mockingjay moment, your Hunger Games,
Mm-hmm.
your lead us to the end of the game type of game, which was fantastic. I mean, it was
Yeah.
I was very happy with this one. I was very satisfied with this one.
Yeah.
So let's get into. I'm gonna turn my page of notes here because I
Hey.
come I come prepared to my own podcast. Um, So I think we've already touched base on this one. Your favorite game was 2, mine
Yep.
was 3.
Yep.
But I want to kind of shift that.
Mm-hmm.
Just briefly, tell me why 1 and Andromeda, the almost like the start and the finish,
Yeah.
were not it for you.
Yeah. Um, I think with Mass Effect 1, the story itself is strong, but I think it's a game that feels like it was put out there to kind of, it tried to do kind of a couple different things to see what the reception would be like. And when it was very positive, they focused in by the time they got to 2 and made it both gameplay wise is just so far superior, and I feel like they just focused in on what makes the game amazing. And it was
Mm-hmm.
just, it's not that 1 is at all bad, it's just that
Right.
2 and 3 are just such unbelievably great improvements in focusing in on the style and on the detail of what is most important to you, which is the conversations, the companions,
Yeah.
the emotional weight of the story. That it's such a jump in the right direction for me that it just I can't it just they don't it just doesn't compare. That being said, it's still a fantastic game and it's a great jumping off point. But I think everyone who played the first game, it was just like wow when they got to 2. I am not, most people. A lot of people consider 2 the best, and maybe some of it is just because of what a huge jump in quality there was
Yep.
in just like exactly the right direction. And then for Andromeda, I think with Andromeda the issue is that there was a disappointment right out the gate when it was discovered that this is not at all connected to the original trilogy at all. It's a
Bam.
completely different story in a
Yep.
completely new area. And then add on to it on the back end, they did a completely new game engine, so they couldn't even use the same assets. They had to completely start everything from scratch, and that led to some, especially on release, which some of the issues are not fixable and remain to this day, with like basically all faces looking the same just about. Just a
Yep.
complete downgrade. So much like this game comes out, environments beautiful, gameplay, combat mechanics wonderful, everything else seems like just a downgrade. It's just like,
Yep.
oh, it's just amazing to me. And the story and the menu system is so difficult to figure out, and the companions don't carry the same emotional weight. The story, the big bad, just doesn't translate the same. It just doesn't work. It's not it's I still enjoyed the game. I still think it's a fun game, and especially at the price you can get it now, I think it's worth playing. I just don't, just because it says Mass Effect, it's truly
Yeah.
just a different game. And if you don't
It
connect it
does.
to the original trilogy, you'll like it a lot better.
Yeah, it does not belong in the legendary like 3-pack. It is Mass
Yeah.
Effect. It is worth playing, but
Yeah.
it's not, necessarily the trilogy. So,
Yeah. It just fails on
take it or
the
leave it.
key, yeah, the key thing, the characters, the
Yep.
emotional weight, and then just even the emotion like on the faces of the characters and stuff. Mass Effect, the original trilogy, couldn't really get that, but they made up for it with just how good the stories were and how good
Sure.
the voice acting was, and it's just not there the same way. And there is another game being developed that looks like it's supposed to bring us right back to some of the people we know and love. Could be a huge win, could be a big fail. We'll just have to see.
Yep, there's been a lot of speculations on it. I just saw a little update today. Um, Not that, the update was today. I saw it today.
Yeah,
I think it
yeah.
was posted like 2 months ago, but it does look like it's, underway. It does look
Mm-hmm.
like they're putting a lot of like time and thought into it, but it does seem like it's going to be one of those productions that it's going to be some time till we see it. It's
Yeah,
probably, going to be maybe 4 or 5 years before we even see this game.
yeah,
Which, to be honest, sounds like it sucks. But if it comes out and it's, they put the time, the effort, and they stick to the source material,
yeah,
it could be a banger.
yeah.
It could be pretty damn good.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see. Hopefully
I agree.
either we're starting a new timeline, or not a new timeline, a new like character, timeline, or maybe a new perspective. Could
Mm-hmm.
be, something entirely different. But there
Yeah,
are so many possibilities that could make this um, great.
yep,
And the ball is in their court, and
yep,
I think they could easily mess this up. But at the
yeah,
same time, they could, really put some time and effort into it. And I'm kind of hoping that,
yeah.
Baldur's Gate 3 was a wake up call to a lot of industries. And I hope, because Mass Effect is such a loved, game,
Mm-hmm.
there this is your opportunity.
Yeah.
Really shine,
BioWare
really take the
was
time.
BioWare was the Larian Studios of its,
Yeah,
back in the day. They had
of course.
this reputation, and they've lost it. But they, if you've had it once, I feel like you have that background, you have that talent, you have that world that you built. Like, you have so much you can pull from. I feel like they can. I want to give them a chance and hope that they can bring something back. I
Of
really
course.
do.
So let me steer this
Yeah.
conversation here. 1, 2, and 3, fantastic games. Story
Mm-hmm.
arcs, fantastic.
Yeah.
But the companions themselves
Yeah.
really shape the game. So
Mm-hmm.
Mass Effect 1.
Yeah.
We talked about ranking the characters, but you know
Yeah.
what? I kind of want to hear. I want to do something just slightly different.
Please do.
Give me the ones that you like had to keep with you
In the first game.
in the first game. Yep.
First game. Okay. Well, I think it comes straight down to um Tali for me. Uh Tali's everything for me.
Yep.
100%. As soon as Tali was in the game, that was it. I was good. I was like, yep, she's in every mission. She's with me all the time. Number one companion every time. Right after that, close behind is Garrus for carrying. My bro, my buddy. Um, and then I do in the first game, I do really enjoy Liara as a friend, as kind of your
Oh,
backup,
okay.
kind of your she's a bit much in the first game, I would say. Not as much of a fan of super young, kind of immature Liara, but I like her as a crew member. I don't like her as a squad mate. That's how I'll put
Okay.
it. Um,
Okay.
Ashley and Caden, I wish I could kill them both. I wish you didn't have to choose between them. I wish they both could be
Yeah.
killed. I hate the fact that I have to see them again, one of them again. They are both so stupid. I hate them.
Okay. Yeah, I barely remember them, so I
Exactly.
probably have the same feeling. Yeah, when I was like when I was thinking back, there were three characters that really kind of stuck out.
Mm-hmm.
My top number one, I always had Garrus.
Mm-hmm.
Just something about him, just it just that duo team, kind of
Yep.
thing. I was like, that's my dude right there.
Yep.
Next, I went with Rex. Do you
Rex.
remember?
I love Rex.
Yeah, dude, the character design just an absolute tank of an individual.
Yeah, Rex is my number
Had
4
to.
overall. Yep, I
Yeah,
love
dude.
him.
I'm like, I got it, got it. And so my number 3 slot is Tally. So I was
Mhm.
like, if I could just run all 3 games with this, I'd be happy.
Yeah, yeah. Rex
Um,
was always my third on that in the first game as well. Yep. Well,
Mass Effect
in the
2.
three. Yeah.
Yeah. Mass Effect 2, we get introduced
Hmm.
to a couple more companions.
Yeah.
Uh, give me your top list.
I in Mass Effect 2, I really enjoy again, you don't get them right away, but assuming we're talking once you have access to most all the companions,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
again, uh Tali and Garrus, well, they always come with me pretty much every time. And I feel like they complement each other very well. I feel like they're almost designed to go well together. With her
Yeah.
being kind of the engineering kind of skills, and he's just the best. Especially in 2, they really lean into his snipering prowess, and that
Mm-hmm.
continues on. So I really like to give him a sniper and just go for it. Um, and then I like to. I don't usually play with the biotic powers personally. I just kind of go with the more standard soldier kind of. I really like that
Mm-hmm.
in the game. I like that a guy who's just a fucking badass with a gun is inspiring all these people. He doesn't have any
Yeah.
special powers to. He's just a normal guy who is fucking amazing with a gun, and I think that works for me in the story. So I go between having. I really like having a biotic person, um, but I also really like just the big damage dealer. So I go between Grunt in the second game, and then I really like Samara a lot for the biotic power. She's like my guilty pleasure. I really enjoy her. I'll take her over even over Jack, which I also really like. She's also biotic, but
Oh,
I like Samara. Samara's that
damn.
Asari mother Justicar thing.
Yeah. Shit, I forgot about. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
she's
I
a
might have to
smaller
revisit this
companion.
list. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
but
wrote
I like
down
her.
I had it was Kasumi, I think was the pronunciation.
Yeah, Kasumi's really good too. I like her.
Um and then Garrus, Grunt, and Tali.
Yep,
Um Again, dude,
yep.
Grunt, just character design,
Love Grant. He's
tanky.
your
I mean,
son.
come on.
You
Um
you allow him to be born in your ship like he's your son.
yep, telling you. Killing
I
it.
love Grant.
Um, Mass Effect 3.
Yeah.
This has the biggest pool of companions in the
Yep.
entire series. Obviously, because you're collecting, stories, tales, victories, moments, companions,
Yeah.
happiness, sadness, cries, joys, all this stuff. This is like the end, of the game.
Yeah.
And what I think I like the most is that it allows you to have
Yeah.
access to all of these companions, like all of the people that you have, like touched and shaped and or have shaped you and you know, uh, really been there through the entire game. I mean, you get an attachment to these characters. And, of course, because the game's gotta, be a game, you gotta, say hi to some and say goodbye to others. But this
Yeah.
one I could not narrow down to 4, so I ended up going 5.
Yeah. Yeah. Love it. Well, I think it goes without saying we can say Tali and Garrus. They're back. They're amazing.
Yeah,
Love them.
weirdly enough, they're 4 and 5 on my list.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Yeah. See, I'm playing it right now. I'm bringing Garrus and Tali every time. But go ahead.
Yeah.
What else do you have?
So I have Ari, Rex, and Grunt.
Mmm.
Just because you when it came to like I'm a gamer that really enjoys when you get to the end of the game or you're like really you're at a moment where the suspense of the game pulls you to a point where it makes you feel that no matter what happens, this is a life or death situation. This is the end
Mm-hmm.
all moment. And this is why I liked this game, out of all three of them the best, because it's anything. It almost makes you feel like anything from this point on is going to make a true permanent difference in the
Mm-hmm.
galaxy. So
Yeah.
you like give it everything you've got. And so
Yeah.
with characters with some having like the ability to like warp and Grunt just being like an absolute tank, plus he's you know you is been on your ship and in your
Yeah.
like care and stuff since it the first moment it opened its eyes and
Mm-hmm.
stuff. So like this moment in which you have had Garrus and Tally from the very first game who have been with you the entire way. So I mean you have built those characters to such a level that
Mm-hmm.
you know how they operate, you know what they're going to
Yeah.
be able to accomplish, you know how
Yeah.
they're going to work, so you know what missions are going to be
Mm-hmm.
perfect to have them in there. And
Yeah.
then and Rex and Grunt, their story arcs, and plus just absolute tanks when you need when you're going through an absolute
Let me
firefight.
ask you.
And
I think I will say, especially since I'm playing this right now, I think this might be just a little bit of that. It's been a long time for you with this because here's the
Rutro Raggy.
because Grunt and Rex are both in the game of Mass Effect 3,
Yeah.
but they are in their own special story missions. They are not companions that you can take mission to mission. You work with Grunt towards the beginning and you kind of help him, and then he goes off and runs his own thing, and then you go to Rex's home world and you do his mission with him,
Really?
and then he goes and stays and does his thing. Yeah, they are not with
Oof.
you in Mass
I
Effect
feel
3.
like I remember being able
Uh,
to use them.
they are
Wait,
with you.
are they super prevalent in the end game?
They might show up
Because
in the
I feel like I remember a
do you take
moment
them
when
end game? They
I
might.
needed someone to take just an absolute like dumpster fire of damage, and I remember using like Rex to just basically
Yes.
be my absolute like bullet sponge while I was kind of like using cover and his absolute tank of a body to also take those hits.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm trying to remember if they're all available. If how many people are available at the end, if they all show up to work with you or not.
Well, I mean, I know that. Well, actually, you'll have the answer faster than I will because you
Yeah,
are finishing up
yeah.
the
I'm getting
third
to the
game right
end.
now.
I can't I don't
So,
remember that, but I could be. Yeah, there 8. Yeah, there's 8 squad members for Mass Effect 3. Mass Effect 2 has up to 12. Mass Effect
yes.
3 has 8 squad members, and then there's an additional one, uh, which is one of my one that I like via the DLC Javik, which is now just part of the game in the legendary. But
Yes,
I
it is.
don't know if you. Let me just
Well, I'll
search it
tell you
straight up.
what. It's going to be super fun when I finish the replaying of 1, 2,
Yeah,
and 3, and my entire like review here like completely changes. I'm sure like later down the road when we both have like finished the games like and they're nice and fresh in our minds, we'll have to revisit and see if what I remember uh is accurate to when I complete 1, 2, and 3 once again.
yeah. Yeah,
Um,
they have missions, but I don't know that they are able to be brought with you. So that's the only that I don't know for sure. I don't. It doesn't look like it. but I
Well,
could be wrong, and we'll have
you'll
to do
have to
it
let me
correct when I
know.
finish. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll have to let me know when you finish the game, and then I
But this
will
is where it is, where
I
it's like
will.
all these games become like one in your head. They was that way for me too
Yeah.
before I replayed the Legendary. It all just kind of goes together
Well, as
because
we said in episode 2, we don't fact check. So
yeah, we don't fact check. I think but regardless, I love what you're saying about those characters because they're fucking amazing. I There is in the third game, there's a couple other just general in overall all the types of squad mates you can have that I'd love to just mention briefly as
yeah,
just because I think they're really cool.
please do.
I really like I think Javik is a really cool one to bring up. He's an actual Prothean, which is in the story the Protheans were the previous main race that was taken away and reset. And so they find
Mm.
this like basically this like cryo chamber situation and bring back this Prothean from back then. And he's able to be alive and work with you and has some really interesting ideas and views about your world and what you're doing, because when he went into the cryo, it was they were about to be wiped out.
Yeah.
Another one that I really love is I think is really interesting is Edie, your ship AI in Mass Effect 2, like the
Oh
one
yeah.
she gets a body.
Yes, I forgot
And
about that.
yeah, she gets a body and can kind of go with you on missions and stuff like that. There's a couple specific missions that are she actually is like default, you have to take her, and
Yeah.
she's funny. She's kind of trying to figure out
Does
how to
your
be human.
does your ship ever, like the AI like body and stuff? Does your ship ever become like a romance option?
No, Edie is not a romance option. I think you can probably do some flirting. Primarily your pilot Joker, he falls in
Yeah.
love with her. Basically, they kind
Yeah.
of
See,
fall in
this
love. Yeah.
this is why the second game falls so far on the list. I'm telling you, like I want to romance every option. I want to romance the beginning of the game, the captain, the ship, the bad guy at the end of the game. Like,
Yeah.
I so with everything going on, story missions and everything aside, this is something I actually have the least experience with from when I played the game. I didn't get the joy of playing any of the DLCs. So
Mm,
now that I have the legendary pack, there's going to be 40 total pieces of content that are completely new to me. So I am
mhm.
looking forward to that. But
Yeah,
of the
yeah,
DLCs, what was what sticks out? What was your favorite of the DLCs? What really popped for you?
yeah. Um, when you play through the legendary edition, they're just kind of stuck in there, and you don't even realize unless you knew before it. You don't know that they're DLC, and I will say they're of such high quality that I wouldn't have known. But
Oh, fantastic!
there's two that primarily come out. One very specifically is by far and away my favorite, and is just devastating. And it's a Mass Effect 2 one, and it's called Project Overlord, and it is an absolute. I mean, spoilers, of course, but it is basically I won't spoil it too much for you because you're gonna play it, and I think it's important for you to just see it. But
Fair enough.
it
Thank you.
goes into how fucked up Cerberus, the people that you're working for, how
Okay.
unbelievably fucked up they are, and it is absolutely horrific. It's pretty dark, but it's so well done, and it's so just like, oh my god, and you're able to do something good, which is I like that you're able to do something about it.
Awesome.
So keep an eye out for that one when you get to 2, because it's gonna, whew, uh, yeah. So that is my favorite. Anyone who's played the games, the DLCs will know what I'm talking about. The other one that I really like is actually what I'm doing right now in Mass Effect 3, and it's the Omega DLC. And basically, there's, for all the companions you can have, there also is just this huge cast of characters that are just like people you work with, people you talk to, people you do stuff for. And so this person that you did a lot for in Mass Effect 2, again, big character in Mass Effect 2, kind of like a land, like a governor of an area, more or less, that you kind of do some stuff with. You help her take back her area, and it's really cool, and it's very fleshed out and really fun. So those are my two favorites. Yeah.
Well, I look forward to playing both of those.
Yeah.
I'm genuinely very excited to play all of this. I didn't think I didn't think I was going to be as excited as I am. And
I think Mass Effect 2 is going to surprise you on a replay. I think Mass Effect 2 is going to surprise you on a replay. I really do.
I'm shaking my head. I'm shaking my head solely so that when I do this episode, I can make it the thumbnail, and I'm going to say no. Click here, thumbnail right here. What? Noah, what? Okay, so there's our thumbnail. But I genuinely think I'm gonna probably have to do one of these public apologies and because I'm genuinely afraid that I'm gonna play these games and I'm gonna come back on here and be like, all right, two's the shit, and I don't know what I was talking about.
I mean, so, it's insane.
Hey, so before we end this episode here, because
time just flew by.
An hour 50. It really has. And honestly, I love that about these conversations. I love when you get so deep into a conversation that you look back and you go, well, holy shit, it's been an hour and 15 minutes already. And
that's the ticket, man.
Where do you see, or where would you want to see this if they were to continue the world of Mass Effect, where would you like to see that they take it?
I think my biggest wish would be for them to do a bit of a return to form, and at the very least have the story take place in the original world, the Milky Way galaxy, everything they built up there. There's a lot that they have there that they can pull from, and that will just automatically make the game more fun for people who love the series. And I'm hopeful that that's the direction they're going, because we know for sure from the little teasers and stuff, it's almost assured that Liara, which we didn't discuss this, Liara is definitely BioWare's favorite character. It's very clear throughout the game that Liara is a huge thing to them, very important to them, almost like the default main companion, default romance companion in some ways,
right,
for the game. And I do really love her. Not my personal favorite. She's my number 3 overall. But generally speaking, it seems like we see her, so that gives me hope. That being said, they can live a long time, so it still could be that she's someplace else completely. I'm not sure. I just would like them to really just work on their characters again, maybe bring some people back if possible, and just really get back to what made it good and what worked.
Yeah.
I don't know if it being Commander Shepard again is the right call or not. That I don't know. Okay. Especially because of the choices that you make at the end. It would just undo some people's playthroughs to bring him back. So I don't know if that's the right call either.
But it wouldn't be the first time.
Yeah. I'm also like, but I feel like there's ways they could make it work. Exactly. They already did it in the series. So they could figure out some other way. But I honestly think the protagonist could be just about anyone. It's what they do with the characters, with the story, with the world, that'll make the game good. Because Commander Shepard, for all how great he is, he's not the reason people love the game, and he never
Right.
was. So that's not the main thing they have to focus on. Is him. They need to focus on bringing that magic of the companions of the world back. And if they do that, I think they can win. We Baldur's Gate 3 showed that you can still make those games and people love them and people want them. You can make a game now and even with all the modern technology still have really good companion interactions that people like and that mean a lot to them. It's not like we can't, that was a time of they were a blessing of their time. No, we can still do that, and they showed that. So hopefully they give them a little kick in the pants to get it right.
100%. Absolutely. Yeah, I agree completely, and I think that they have the opportunity, they have the source material, and they really put some time and effort into this one. They got a shot. This thing could be amazing.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Noah, thank you so much for joining me for yet another episode.
I know. Hope people aren't sick of me.
I don't think so. I mean, I'm not. I absolutely love having you here.
So fun, man.
So you're on YouTube. You're still putting out videos.
Yeah.
Shout that out.
Nerdy Noah reads. NC Chapman on YouTube. We basically just we've articles in the TTRPG, D&D, gaming, tech space. We just something interesting to me. I talk about it and I run my mouth about how I feel about it. So pretty straightforward formula. And if you like it, you like it. So come check it out.
Yeah, absolutely. Go check it out. It is, it's really nice. Honestly, a lot of times you're on the move, you're at work, you're in the car, you're doing your stuff, and you got, an interest of yours in the TTRPG community, in the world, in the, gaming, hemisphere. There are articles that sometimes you hear about it and you end up just waiting for somebody to present an opinion about it, which is cool and everything. But Noah comes out there, he reads the article, really goes in depth and comments on, like, in and about the article, and your opinions are always like they're always very like non-biased, which is something that I, as someone who just wants the information, can truly appreciate.
That's what I try to do. I try to just read it first so you can have your own ideas, and then afterwards I give a little bit of how I'm feeling about it, and try to have some different arguments. But yeah, give people a chance to just hear what they're saying first before I start running my mouth about it. Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love it. Nerdy Noah reads. Please go check it out. I'll throw a link down here in the description.
Thank you, man.
You can find me on Instagram at Phoenix Stewart. I'll throw a link down there. And if you are a gamer, someone who enjoys stories, tales, fantastic adventures, and TTRPGs, and you've got a little bit of a spicy side, then go check out on TikTok, before they ban that bad boy, Danny Reads Dirty Books. That's pretty straightforward. Fantastic recommendations. Extremely entertaining. Go check.
I was looking at her Goodreads. My God. Woo. Spicy.
It's very spicy. She's at like 800 something odd books for the last year and a half. So,
goddamn.
Yeah, you're there's definitely going to be a book for you, and bring a towel. Anyway, you can you can find me on YouTube at Who What Now Gaming. If you're watching this video, you already found me.
Hell yeah.
We are on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Um, and yeah, Noah, is there anything else that you want to shout out or say to our wonderful listeners?
Oh man, I just want to hear everyone's thoughts about Mass Effect down in the comments. We did not even get even close to everything that I had on my list to get to. So if I didn't bring up your favorite thing, I promise that doesn't mean I don't care about it. But put your comments in. Tell me about your favorite characters, your favorite moments. I can't wait to hear all about it. I know we have some people listening who love these games, so I really want to hear.
Well, hey, throw them down in the comments. Like, subscribe, throw a 5-star review if you feel, that is a choice that you want to do. It really goes a long way. It will really help us
It
out.
really does.
Gets the show out there, brings the show to new listeners.
Mm-hmm.
And the Discord is now up and operational. Please
Hell
come check us out
yeah.
on Discord. Um, the link for the Discord will also be in the description.
Yeah,
So
come talk
Noah,
to us.
thank you so much for being here.
Oh, you
And
got it,
until
man.
next time, we'll catch you
Mm-hmm.
on the next one.
Bye
See ya.
bye.